Right.
Hey, ladies, welcome to another self-love conversation. My name is Gloria Ward, which you guys already know. And remember, ladies, it is August and it is Black Business Month. And we've been celebrating all month because we know the importance of getting women business owners out there, not only on our platform, but to put out there so that everyone can see. And tonight I am with a wonderful woman, Miss Stephanie White, who started her business, Stephanie White Events. And check this out. She is a woman who is taking her business to the next level. When you go to her website, stephaniewhiteevents.com, you could just see how beautiful she is, how organized she is, how she has all of this experience working with different events, from weddings to organizing different business events. And tonight, I want you to take some notes, because if you are someone who's into event planning or want to think about or start an event planning business, I want you to be able to get some information from a woman who's actually doing it and who has been doing it for many, many years. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be
Absolutely.
here.
So, I always ask women when they come on, uh, how is life now, and how did you get here?
Mm, how is life now and how did I get here? I would have to say that life now is pretty good. I am still, of course, still building to get to where I still want to be. I'm
Right.
always a work in progress.
Right.
So I would have to say that, life is pretty good. I'm doing a lot of things. Things are a little bit more complex now than they were when
Okay.
I first started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'd have to say that how I got here is it all started with a passion and just me trying to navigate what it is that I wanted to do. When I first moved to the DC metropolitan area after undergrad in 2005, I was like, okay, well, I need a job. And, it was hard to get a job. So I started working at a catering business,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a bridal hostess. And I was like, okay, you know how you try like odd jobs before you
Right,
get the
right.
next job. So that was my process. And I really enjoyed doing it. I said, you know what? I can do this for free, like literally. And I just enjoyed catering to other people. And I enjoyed being involved in the whole process of the wedding, etc. And so that's pretty much how I kind of started with the event planning. I just took a spin from what I was doing as a
Mm-hmm.
bridal hostess and started collecting business cards from DJs, different vendors, etc. So yeah,
I always think about the event planning business. I'm like, man, you got to be so organized. Like, you have to be able to be on point with everything, right?
yes,
Because I'm like, especially when you're dealing with someone's wedding,
it,
where it's like the most important day of their life. So, when what do you think sets you apart from everyone else when it comes to the events that you do?
I definitely think what sets me apart from another planner or another person who is doing the same type of business is, I would say, the amount of care that I take with my clients. I always let them know that I'm available anytime you need me. Sometimes I think that I forget to, as a person, forget to put up certain boundaries.
Gotcha.
It could be, hard, of course, because there's more to my life than just event planning or wedding planning. So I think that the amount of care that I give my clients, just kind of reassuring them that, okay, we're going to get this done, we're going to get this done. That you can reach out to me anytime. I think that's what sets me apart. Also, I am a person who I own any mistakes or any type of dissatisfaction a client may have or whatever. I own that to a certain
Mhm.
degree. I never wanted to be said that you had Stephanie White plan your event and she did not do everything in her power to make sure that you were taken care of.
Absolutely. And
So
so is it mostly weddings that you do, or what is the biggest thing that you do in your business?
um It's been mostly weddings, but I have branched off into fashion shows where I
Oh,
kind of I
wow.
throw my own events. I
Yeah,
start,
you out there now. Fashion shows are hard.
oh my gosh.
Well, at least, for me, I don't know, but I spoke at one in Miami, and I just saw all the models around, the hair, the makeup, the clothes, the people running. And I'm like, who in the world manages all of this? That's it. If you're doing that, I mean, that really takes some skill, because it was chaotic.
Yes, it can be very chaotic. So you do need like a backstage manager,
Mhm.
and you do need someone like a front stage manager. But when you're doing your own shows, I like to get what I call volunteers or different staff members that can kind of help me
Yeah.
to kind of fill those roles. Because as the planner, it's almost like you're the as the coordinator, you're the, as they say, the cook, the bottle washer, the you clean up the tables, like everything. So you need, of course, a good team in order to pull off that type of event.
Right.
So I started putting on my own events in 2013. I didn't start doing fashion shows until 2016.
Mhm.
So it's I started sponsoring or being a sponsor for other people's shows. And it kind of helped me when a organization called the Taste of the Runway reached
Right.
out to me
Wow.
and wanted me to be a sponsor for their event. So I sponsored the bridal suite, as they called it.
Mhm.
And I literally bought in all the vendors to set up the suite. And it was an event that was at the Washington Convention Center. And then it kind of um, snowballed from there, in a sense, where I started doing more events. I started teaming up with more people, etc. So, and it became bigger.
And so the more that you work in your business, and the more that you see yourself growing, do you find yourself do you still enjoy it? Because I know for me, like, I'm 18 years in, and being 18 years in, it's like, I know that I'm still on this journey, and I have multiple businesses, and it's like, now life looks a little bit different. So do you still like enjoy getting down there and getting in the grind, or do you see yourself growing more, where you're like, okay, I'm not getting down here putting flowers and all this stuff. I need to concentrate on growth and really high level stuff.
you know, I it gets tired
Yeah.
being the as I like to call it, not necessarily the worker bee, excuse me, but the person in the trenches.
Hmm.
So, and it's almost like I have periods in my business where I have a team of people that I work with where I'm not necessarily doing certain things, but then those people, they move on to other opportunities. So then you kind of have to start from the ground up, building up again. And that's where I see myself right now, having to build another team. And
Hmm.
so I would have to say, like, I am right now, I am a little tired. So I'm actually going to take a little hiatus, which
Hmm.
I've never done.
Hmm.
I it's nonstop. I keep going. And I'm going to take a hiatus for about 3 months, starting in October, to allow myself to regroup, go back to the drawing board, work on some things, continue to work on a team, bring in some new people, and really take a look at where I see my business going in the future. Because I
Right.
would love to branch off into doing more corporate events. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, well, maybe I can't necessarily do corporate events right now because I don't have the team. I don't
Right.
have those people in place to do those type of events.
Right. And it's like, even with COVID in 2020, when nobody was going out, and
Right.
it's like you trying to figure out what this online events look like. They're not the
Exactly.
same because the passion is not there. And then when you see everything now with people, I mean, they have stepped up their visuals, even, like with the events, doing it online and everything. You try to, like, as an entrepreneur, we always saying to ourselves, like, man, we got to do more working on the business than in the business, right?
Exactly.
And so now that you're taking this hiatus, and you taking this time off, what are some of the things that you expect to gain? Is that your recruiting time, or is that just you really working on the business, planning for what your 2023 is going to look like?
Good question.
Mhm.
So during that hiatus, I would like to do some recruiting. So it's going to be a mixture of some of what I'm going to be doing, do some recruiting, and then continue to build my business and pull to tighten up on certain procedures and everything that I currently have in place.
Mhm.
And to plan for 2023. Now, what I plan to do is take a little longer hiatus from one of the type of events that I actually do, just because it does take, it can take a lot out of you, and I need to get back to building a team for that one specific event.
Mhm. Oh,
And
no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I was looking at my own business and I'm just like, each and every year I start, because our birthday is October the 27th.
mm,
So after that, I start and I just plan for the next year and just do so many different things where you're trying to always figure out what inspires you, right? Like,
right,
what will really make this your best self? How can you really show your character in your business? And a lot of and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people who want to start a business, they
mm,
don't understand what the working on the business means. Sometimes you have to be able to take that time away and just get that broad and big picture about where you are right now and what is your biggest need. And then once you figure out what your biggest need is, how am I going to get there? And what do I need to get there? What are the resources? What is the knowledge? What is the people? Because the only way we grow is if we leverage things, right?
right.
We got to leverage people. We got to leverage money. We got to leverage knowledge. And we also got to be able to make sure that we're leveraging our time. That's the biggest thing, right?
Exactly. I agree.
And so, I tell the women all the time, those are the things that you must do, right?
Right.
So, uh, another question that I had is like, really, how do you take care of you while you're doing all this? Do you have a family life? Do you have children? You know, because that's for us women,
Mhm.
we have a lot of guilt, especially when we have children or if we have a mate or a husband. And it's like, I can't spend time with you right now. I got to do
Right.
this. So,
Mhm.
how do you find that balance and how do you take care of you?
Well, to tell you the truth, how I found that balance, what I've been learning to do is to just take time out for myself.
Gotcha.
And that's not always easy. Like sometimes you have to say no. Like I have a wedding in 17 days.
Oh,
And I literally started planning this wedding 4 months ago. And I
mhm.
was like, oh, and I was like, okay, let me just do it. So I literally allowed myself to come back from vacation. And then I came back on last Thursday and I used this time to get myself together. And I contacted her Monday, like, okay, we got a certain amount of days. What do we need to do? And sometimes you have to trust your instinct. Like if your instinct is telling you not to schedule a meeting on this particular day, do it on this day, give yourself 2 extra days. Need to follow that because if not, you're going to burn yourself out.
Exactly. And it's like, were you actually on vacation when you were saying you were on vacation, or was it like a working vacation? Or did you really just like stop everything? Because that's like the hardest thing, right?
Right.
Did you check the email and say, well, let me just send this, or let me just talk, or did you actually enjoy?
I actually enjoy because I went to Europe for
Good.
the first time.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
I I did connect one of my emails just so I can be on top of all the changes with like the pickup times and the tour times and stuff. But
Mhm.
I right before I left, I actually told my client the Saturday before I left on the next Thursday, I won't be doing anything. That was a lie because literally I worked up until I was still trying to book vendors. I was still getting quotes. And my clients, of course, were still, we were still trying to sort out things. So I needed to still be included in, in all everything. Like I still needed to be on top of it. So
Mhm.
I literally did relax, but you always need a vacation from the vacation because
Mhm.
I've been exhausted since I've been
Yep.
back.
Yep. And you know, and the reason, again, the reason why I'm asking you these questions is because
Mhm.
there are a lot of women, you know, that listen to this platform and they want to be able to start a business. And I keep telling them, with any business you want to start,
Mhm.
you want your freedom, which is great,
Mhm.
right? But
Right.
you're really not free like that until you're able to leverage those four things that I talked about, right?
Right.
Because you're doing most of the work. And the
Yeah.
way that you leverage those things is you have to learn how to put up boundaries and let go of the control. The reason why we're entrepreneurs is because we love to be in control. That's just
Right.
a trait we have, right? That's
Right.
just a trait we have. And it's hard to let that go.
Mhm.
But I know you mentioned people, but what are some of the other biggest challenges that you know that you face even in your industry, that you're saying to yourself, whoa, okay, you know, this is another thing that I'm gonna have to overcome in order to get me to where I need to be.
I would have to say my pricing, like how I price my products. Like sometimes I'll price them, of course, the way that the industry is pricing them, or the area or which I live in is pricing them. But
Mhm.
then I have moments where I get a little like, even now after 16 years, I get a little not nervous, but more so like I'm not as confident. Like, okay, I
Gotcha.
don't have
Mhm.
the team and I'm still trying to pull together all like the logistics, like in terms of for the event, how can I price myself at this price as other planners are doing it when they have the same team and expect to be, it's pretty much it's pricing myself and expecting to be in the same ballpark as those people who have
Have, who
more
have
of
those
a
teams. Mhm.
yes.
I get it.
So that it does that portion, of course, kind of bothers me in a sense where I need to become stronger at that. Of course,
Mhm.
I'm not
Mhm.
going to price myself to where it's like ridiculous and you're not making any money. But I
Mhm.
will price myself also based on my experience and what it is
Absolutely.
I'm doing. And
Absolutely.
a lot of times, some certain people, excuse me, that don't understand that. And I'm not here per se to try to make you understand. All I can do is tell you this is what my product is, this is what my price is. So
Yeah,
that's something that I do struggle with.
I will tell you, like I tell the ladies that I mentor, if you go to Gucci and you go to Louis Vuitton and all of these different brands, they don't lower their price or come up with a discount for you. Their
Right.
price is their price. And the reason why it's that way is because they're hand stitching. They have a lot of people behind them on a team making this stuff work. They are finding the, you know, the greatest cows, vegan cows, to go ahead and make your leather. They're doing
Right.
all these things, right?
Right.
And so that is what brings it value. So when you're thinking about your pricing and you're thinking about everything, what is your worth? What is your value? And if people question your value, then that means that what you're offering
Mhm.
is something that they feel that they can get elsewhere. You have to be able to put yourself in a position where when you are doing your pricing, the value goes along with it, right?
Mhm.
The value is there. So I have this quote that I put. I said, if you can make something people want more than they want their money, you will grow.
There it is.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's basically what it is, because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women, we always think like, oh well, you know, I don't want to be too high. That person is just not your customer.
Mhm. That's
You see
right.
what I'm saying? And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that, because the moment that someone says, oh no, I don't go there because she's too expensive, no, you can't afford it.
Right.
So I need to go where people can afford my value, because I'm coming with all of these things. And us being able to, as entrepreneurs, to be patient and understand that this is our value, this is our worth.
Exactly. And can I add to that?
Mhm.
It's almost like you you also don't want to be afraid if you do continue, like when you first kind of get to a place where you start going to where your clients are, where they can actually afford your product, you can't
Yeah.
be afraid when the first no comes or the second no
Oh,
comes. Because sometimes
absolutely.
we will accept business from other people and will lower our prices for the sake of getting the business.
Right, right, right. I tell them too, there's always tiers to everything, right? There's always
Right.
tiers to everything. So if you can't afford the highest value that I have,
Mhm.
we do have some tier pricings. We just taking some stuff out,
Right.
right? Or maybe you are going to be able to do a little bit more of the work than I am. I'll just, be your helping hand. I mean, there's always a way where you can work something out, but the value that you're getting is something that you don't compromise, right?
Right.
But we have something for our audience that we serve.
Mhm.
And if everything is a no, you're not the customer, right? If
You
you
go.
can't afford the premium package, you could go mid-level or you could go basic. That depends on what you think you are, right?
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
only giving you what
Right.
you think you are,
Right. I
right?
agree. Mhm.
And 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 so now with everything that is going on now, how has COVID really affected your business?
Mm. So when COVID, of course, started and everything shut down, I wasn't doing any business.
Mm,
I did, of course, manage to I did have a wedding in 2020, but it was virtual. So I did my first virtual wedding. And pretty much it was the client actually lived in South Carolina. So
mhm,
everything was virtual and it was pretty much they got married earlier. So it was more so like a um reception per se.
gotcha.
And I was pretty much almost like the narrator
Mm,
of it all.
mhm,
They had
mhm.
toast, I kind of went through the whole program and just made sure everything flowed and everything. And it was all done on Zoom.
Wow.
So and that was one event. I did manage to have a baby shower that year, and that particular event was outside. And anytime I hope do an event, I always enforce the COVID policies. So
Mhm.
I'm like, we're gonna be 6 feet apart. We're gonna have hand sanitized. We're gonna have stations. We're gonna have um, soap dispensers, everything. So,
Mhm.
so as I continue to do events, even when now that COVID things have opened back up, I still check to see what are the COVID policies with these different venues, whether they require it, excuse me,
Mhm.
us to have as planners and clients when we go into their space. If they're not requiring anything, don't worry, I'm bringing stuff just because
Right,
we
right.
still want to be safe. You know,
Absolutely.
so pandemic out here.
Well, Stephanie, how can we find you if anyone is looking for events, say the type of events that you're doing right now,
Mhm.
and how can, someone find you if they're looking for your service?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna add a drop a line in there that I not only do I do weddings, fashion shows, I do birthday parties, anniversary parties, birthday parties I mentioned, etc. I can be found on Instagram at Stephanie White Events, on Facebook, Stephanie White Events. My website is www.stephaniewhiteevents.com. I'm also on Twitter as Events by Steph. I'm not sure who still use like people still use Twitter, but
Yeah.
I am on that. And of course, on my website, you'll find a lot of different information. If you want to inquire about planning services, I can be reached at admin@stephaniewhiteevents.com.
Mhm.
And yeah, like we're all over the web.
Okay. And if someone who is an entrepreneur who wants to learn from you, do you do that as well? Do you teach
Yes,
people
yes.
how to do or become an event planner and do all those amazing things?
Yes, I have an internship program. I started it a few years ago, and yes, I do have a program where I do teach individuals how to who want to become an entrepreneur and who want to plan events, how to plan events. I like to do some type of like have literature, of course, and yes, it is a program that I do have, and they can email me, of course, at admin, and then of course put in the subject internship program, and that's admin@stephaniewhiteevents.com.
Well, there you have it. So if you're interested in being an event planner, ladies, If you are interested in just picking this wonderful woman's brain or interested in some of her services, please go ahead and visit all of her social media handles, send her an email, and you guys take it from there. So Stephanie, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for really being transparent, and then also, just gracing us with your time and everything, because I think it's important that we hear all facets of what it means to be in business, right?
Right.
So I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I hope we discussed something today that, of course, will help entrepreneurs as they move forward in their journey.
Absolutely. You have a good night, okay?
You as well. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.